as well start with us laughing, right?
I do every time.
Hello. Do we do that every time?
I don't know. Hello.
Hi.
How are you? I don't know if there's anybody here with us.
There's not, but that's okay.
Okay. But they will be because we're recording.
And today we're talking, this is why do people do what they do online and offline?
And what we're talking about today is whether people are afraid of authenticity.
Being authentic. I wonder if there's
authenticity.
Okay. I'm glad we're talking about this today because it's really interesting. So my name is Tracey Warren. I am a community manager and creator at the Social Playground. So my space that I play is social media.
Yes. And I am Rachel Alexandria. I am... Oh, there's so many ways to try to define who I am, and none of them are sufficient. But let's just say I don't even know why she's laughing.
None of them encapsulate the greatness that is Rachel Alexandria.
They really don't. Sounds so arrogant, but it's
very authentic.
You're trying to say I'm authentically arrogant?
No. Okay.
I'm a licensed psychotherapist, and you could call me a coachapist or a theracoach.
A coachapist? Okay, that's funny. But she's not a pissed coach.
No, not very often anyway. I'm the creative leader's secret weapon. That's one of the ways that I talk about what I do. And I'm helping people, good-hearted people, stand up, exercise their voice, and stand in their power. So that's what I'm doing over on
That
Rachel.
sounds awesome.
Alexandria.
I'm going to do this just a little bit more.
Okay, so you can see
there.
Do this.
More. No. Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyway,
so we're talking to an audience of none at the moment, which is always fun.
That's all right.
But maybe some of you will watch later. Tracy's got some sweater problems right now. Do you want to stop recording?
I feel better now. Okay, no, we're good. Okay, so
you don't get much more authentic than this.
You really.
So maybe that's why no one's watching. They're afraid of our authenticity.
Was showing. Anyway, so this whole idea of authenticity, authenticity has gotten a lot of publicity, if you will.
Yes, thanks, Brene Brown.
Yes, thank you, Brene Brown. Mm-hmm. And it's really awesome. But I think from my perspective, when it comes to social media, there's a huge difference between authenticity and verbal vomit.
Yes, the over-transparent, the sharing every little last thing.
Yes, Facebook is not your diary. It's so... I know.
Whoops.
Right?
Okay.
Oh, we have a doge.
We have
a guest star today. This is Isabel, and apparently she would like to be a part of our broadcast today. No, you should go away.
Tracy's dog sitting.
I'm dog sitting.
And I am dog deprived, so I've been petting these dogs for like an hour, and they love me now. So. Okay.
So back to our topic of authenticity. Go away.
Bye-bye.
Off.
No, down.
Here, let me yell again in the microphone. Okay.
Don't stay.
So center. Where do people go? Where is the line between authenticity and just oversharing? And is that really the issue, or is it, so there's that piece. And then there's probably the other piece of people who feel like, well, why do people care? Because I get a lot of that. Why do people care what I'm doing today or how I'm feeling today? And then I suppose there's all sorts of different classifications, because then there's people who are just afraid to be themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I think because we can do so many things on authenticity. Yeah. So let's stick to the whether or not people are afraid. And thanks for joining us, JP Freeman.
This is a scary blab. Hey, you were on a couple weeks ago with us. So thanks for coming back.
We were thinking about doing our version of the Chewbacca mask lady, you know, because that's a very just making fake masks and going, and then we laughed for a while, and then we didn't do it.
No. But we're laughing anyway.
Yes. So
authenticity.
Yes, she did get 110 million views and counting.
Yeah.
Well, so I think authenticity is complicated, right? I mean, it is, but it isn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people crave it, but people are also scared of it. And why I love that we're talking about this today. No, dogs. No, sorry. Is that's my experience sometimes. I think, sorry, the dogs are, you edit your authenticity. Yeah.
Which is really sad.
And sometimes necessary. I mean, see, this is the crazy thing about authenticity, right? Like, sorry, we have a dog issue.
Hold on.
She's gonna have to go and get the dogs to do something else. Oh gosh. All right. So, so my experience is that I'm a pretty authentic person most of the time, and I think sometimes. I was thinking about this actually on the way here. So this is perfect, Tracy. That I think sometimes with people, even people who love me, sometimes my authenticity can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because are you overwhelmed by my authenticity?
No.
Okay. Well, that's good. So, but I think people see, like this came up in a workshop I was in just over the weekend. We were working on fifth chakra communication issues. And one of the things that came up for some people is that the more that you listen deeply to people beyond just their words, so like seeking their authenticity, the more that's going to show up, and the more that they'll do that back to you. They'll listen beyond your words. But I also experienced that this is my assumption actually, that here, yeah, let me do it. The dogs are trying to invade my space, but she's the one with the sprayer.
Okay.
So, but my experience, my question is, if there's a certain amount of the people in my life that love spending time with me, but they limit it because it's so intense, the amount of authenticity I bring and I seek in them, I think they experience that as intense. That's my supposition.
Interesting.
What do you think about that? Like, you probably don't demand quite as much from people as I do, because you laugh more and you're kind of busy and roaming around, and you got your kids and your husband to take care of. I don't have people in my daily life to take care of. So,
yeah, I think I'm a little bit like.
It's a good question, because
I think I used to edit myself because I know that I can be a little too much, but not from an authenticity standpoint. But like for me, I'm a loud laugher.
Yeah.
And for a long time, people would look at me and go, God, that's so annoying. And now I'm like, whatever, you suck. I'm going to laugh as loud as I want. Like, this is me, and you take me or you leave me. And most people take me, right? Like, I don't know that I demand authenticity, but I do when I ask
you just
someone.
Told me a story about this, but when I got here,
I did
about the lady at the event, and you were like, "What, is something wrong?" And she was like, "No," and you're like,
"Oh, right." So that was
wrong.
what I was gonna. So one of the things, I'm pretty intuitive, and I can tell when something's going on with somebody. So what I was about to say is, if I'm talking with someone and I say, "How are you?" and they say, "I'm okay," or "I'm fine," I'll say, I do not take that as an answer, or I don't take that at face value. It turns into, okay, just okay. What's going on? So my authenticity, or expecting authenticity, is around caring. And which can be equally as exhausting, I think, because I'm very empathic,
both.
Which we're both.
You're both.
So I tend to take on other people's hurt and other people's
Then you're talking about empathic.
Yeah. So I want people to be real with me.
Exactly.
And
sometimes
but like
that's a big demand.
right, the other day, so I was at this event and this woman was saying, "Oh, I have to leave early. I need to go spend time with my kids." And she just kept talking and talking and talking about this. And I said, "Look, you owe me no explanation.
Mm-hmm.
You're going home to spend time with your kids.
Go.
That's enough."
Yeah.
But I think that she's probably been doing this for so long that she feels like she needs to explain herself.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is definitely one thing. I make people feel safe
Mm-hmm.
to just share.
Mm-hmm.
You are right. People are absolutely not self-aware. And to my own, I mean, I don't think I have been very self-aware. This self-awareness for me has been a journey really over the last few years. This is not, I mean, if you had...
I came into Tracey's life and she just went on this journey because of me.
But I do know that the people that I'm in relationship with, and I've just gone through a bunch of life crap that has forced me to look at me
more deeply
than I had before. And yeah, that was not...
I think that's why people are scared of authenticity. People are scared of authenticity because it makes them look more deeply and they're devoted to their denial. They're not ready to look deeply.
Well, and so authenticity is a moving target.
Yeah, super true.
Wow, that's a really good way to look at it. Like growing up, authenticity was not encouraged in my life. You know, not that I remember.
Yeah.
Life crap is what baby wipes are for.
You're funny, dude. That's awesome.
But anyway, yeah, authenticity.
And I think that's because, you know, when we talk about whether people are afraid of it, I think it being a moving target is part of what feels scary to people. Like, when do I share? How much do I share?
Mm-hmm.
When is it safe to share? I have a friend who is really working on her sharing. And she told me a story recently, like she's working on stepping up and being more known and playing bigger. And she did that. And she asked for some help recently. And then she asked for it in a public group setting, and somebody saw it because it was sort of related to her, but my friend had made it super generic. So it was like not inappropriate at all. And it was really about her. She was like, I'm trying to figure out whether or not to say yes to something. And I just want some intuitive help. And people were just giving yes or no. Right. And then she got slammed for this. Like somebody else who saw her doing it was like, I can't believe you did that. And I'm taking this personally, and got this big whole smack in the face for it. And I said to her, you know, first, I'm so sorry that happened to you. But second, that's happened to me a few different times. Like when you start playing bigger and you start, can I get the squirt bottle? You start speaking up more, then it just seems like that's inevitable for a couple times. Like you're going to get a smack for some reason. Like people, until you learn how to dial it in and own your space, for some reason that seems to often be part of the lesson. Like it's part of that hero's journey experience of becoming more visible and standing up for yourself and speaking out who you are, that there's going to be some experiences where people give you pushback reactions, which is, you know, I think people are afraid of that too.
Well, and it's the whole, like, okay, as a public speaker, you get 100 response cards when you speak. 99 of them could be, oh my gosh, you were amazing, I'm going to do this and that. And then you get that one.
You sucked. Everything was terrible.
Yeah. And we focus on that one. And I think that, you know, it's like that woman, she decided to be authentic and ask a question. And a lot of people were supportive. And then that one person wasn't supportive. And so then she decides, okay, next time, maybe I won't be authentic. And I think it's that you dip your toe in. And this is what I try to teach people when it comes to social media, is just dip your toe.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be like, here I am. It can be a little tiny piece of me. I wish we had a camera facing the other direction.
Like they're so
gosh.
trying to come after us. Go away.
Go.
Go. Oh.
Anyway, that whole, we focus on the one and then we're afraid to ever do it again.
Because kids are super authentic, right? They just have their experience. They're super out and loud about it. And then the world starts to teach us one way or another to tamp it down, to shut it up, to keep that to yourself. And so, it takes so much bravery to step back out of that again and realize, even though sometimes the world gives us negative feedback, or even though sometimes the things that we'll discover if we really start opening the doors of our heart is, scary stuff, to do it anyway.
Well, I think about Sally Hogshead, the fascination advantage. She talks about how the older we get, we unlearn how to be fascinating.
Yeah. Interesting.
And, all right. See you next time.
Yep.
If you have other ideas, let us know. And what are you doing?
I'm gonna Facebook it.
Oh, she's Facebooking something.
Yeah, I'm Facebooking our thing.
Oh, okay.
Keep talking.
We're
still here.
We're still here. But the
fascination advantage, she says, we unlearn, you were saying.
Yeah, we unlearn. Like you're right. As kids, we are out there, and then the world tells us, this was my experience. I got told I talked too much or too loud or I was too this or that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I turned it down.
Right.
I turned down my own authenticity so that I could fit in.
I was in stereo.
Yeah. Like,
fit in.
I jokingly say, who put this box here anyway? Right. Like I'm in a box, and rather than like, there's no box.
The box is something that we build for ourselves, right? Yeah. So that's awesome.
So awesome.
So I'm trying to Facebook this so we can get more people to hop on with us if they want to. I wonder if they're afraid of this topic.
I would, it's, well, and it's yeah, they maybe are afraid of this topic.
So what did you do, Tracy? Like, how did you start being less afraid of your own authenticity?
Well, and I know I blew it. I have blown it. But I think for me, I just had to start, I had to adjust my audience.
Mm-hmm.
That was one thing.
What do you mean by that?
Like, I had to get rid of some people.
Okay.
In my audience.
Mm-hmm.
That they were no longer, they weren't my tribe anymore. So I had to get around better people. Mm-hmm. So I had to upgrade my tribe, to be around people who I felt safe around. That's part of it, is the safety thing. So I can feel safe to be me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's just a matter of testing, right? Like, okay, I'm going to try this. Oh, that worked. Let me try this. Oh, that worked too.
Right.
And so that's, I think, how that.
Do you feel like there was something that you did, though, to become braver?
Was there something I did to become braver? Honestly, I got braver when my mom died.
How come?
Because I think she held me back in some ways, or I let her hold me back because I didn't know how to be me with her in my life. Wow, this is getting really authentic.
It's getting authentic up in here.
But, I think that it was just a matter of, I just had to just do it. I mean, I really just had to do it. And I can think of some very specific things that happened. Like there was this event that Debi Whitlock did a few years back called Femination.
I was there.
Where I really realized, wow, I've been turning down my own volume and I needed to turn my volume up.
That's where you won that class from me, wasn't it? Or you won something?
Oh, I wanted to. And you reached out. Oh my gosh.
Right. Yeah.
That's right. You said you looked really disappointed when you didn't win.
She did this. There was a contest to win, I don't know, a session or something with me. And she didn't win, but I saw her at the table go, oh, and like throw her head down.
And then she offered me a session anyway. Okay, that's really, oh my gosh, that was really the start of us.
That was
so sweet. Anyway,
I love that we're having fun. There's nobody here. We're just talking to.
But it'll live on YouTube in perpetuity.
It will.
So you're really going and you're still doing this when we could really stop.
I know,
and
but
we should. Chris just joined us. Hello, Chris.
We were just having a realization about when we first connected, and it was around Moment of Authenticity.
Oh my gosh,
Chris, what's your experience with authenticity? And
you're an ESTJ.
Nice.
I'm an ENFJ.
I'm a E something J because I test in the middle on the other two, so. I'm an E and a J. Hey.
Extroverts.
Extroverts and J's. Woo. We do both rock. Thank you. So do you. You talk.
Me talk.
You talk.
So we're talking about authenticity and how what Rachel just asked me was there has been a shift in my life in the past few years where I've really just kind of owned me that I hadn't done before. And she asked me how I got to that. And I'm not sure if there was, I know there have been moments where I realized, wow, I'm turning myself down. I need to stop doing that. But I just think it was, being in the right place at the right time and being around the right people so that I feel like, does it really keep kicking you off?
Yes, it's okay. Keep talking. Ignore what I'm doing.
I know.
Computer.
Pay no attention to the woman behind the computer. Be yourself. Everyone else is always taken. Yes.
Taken, yeah. Believe in your selfie.
But okay, so believe in yourself is true. But how does one get there if they don't know, like, if you don't know how to do that, right? Like when people see, so I've been doing this Facebook video challenge and it's super easy for me to grab a camera and just start talking.
Me too.
And people look at that and go, oh my gosh, you make that look so easy. And yes, but I don't think it was always this way. And the way my brain works. So today I didn't know what I was going to talk about on my Facebook Live video. And then I was having a conversation with somebody and she said something about something. I don't even know what it was. And I said, oh, there's my topic for today because we just were having a random conversation about something. So, and practice, and what I told Rachel earlier today is, yeah, I record video of myself every day on Facebook Live. I don't go back and watch it. Like, let me just be authentic about that for a minute. Yep. I don't go back and watch it because then I'm going to notice that I scratch my nose or I fix my hair or I
adjust your bra.
Or I adjusted my bra. Thank you for that.
It's on video. People are going to see it anyway.
So, the whole idea that yes, it's easy, but it takes practice. And I think that's the same thing as authenticity.
Yeah.
It's like a muscle. You just need to keep flexing it to see how it is. But I do think that authenticity piece when it comes to social media is so important, and finding where your comfort zone around authenticity is and making sure you're surrounding yourself with a tribe of people who are going to lift you up for being authentic rather than put you down. Like, seriously,
that's a good point.
I have definitely gotten rid of people on my Facebook feed because they're just they're not that way and they're never going to be that way. And that's okay, because that's their authenticity. Mm-hmm. But I get to set boundaries for my own life and decide who I want in my life and who I don't.
Yeah. And I would say, you know, authenticity is so important for healthy relationships and healthy leadership, because people know, like, and trust that they feel are real, and not real in a messy, don't have anything under control kind of way, but also not real in this sort of fake presentation of awesomeness way.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I'm also the same way. Like I weed out people who don't. Actually, the last friend that I just kind of stopped initiating with, stopped being friends with, and we'd had a lot of awesome stuff together. We did a lot of outdoor activities together. We did co-working together. She was really supportive for me in having like a companion to hang out with and do stuff with. But I ended up ending the friendship because I'd been really authentic the whole time I was friends with her. And then I think maybe she must have been upset with me about something, but I don't know what. But she used things that I'd been authentic about against me. You know, like she made fun of some stuff that was important to me. And I was just like, wow, that doesn't feel safe or okay. So,
well, and so even this, what you see is what you get, is super important. And I think, so I'm going back to social media again, that I think people put on an air for Facebook, for example, and they lead these perfect lives, and they lead, I'm always shiny. Yep. I am kind of always shiny, but anyway, and then you meet them in person and you're like, oh, who are you? Like,
I have had that experience.
So you talked about know, like, and trust. And I feel like that is a huge violation of trust when, when you put on this air online. You put on air, you act real cool, but you got to realize that you're acting like a fool.
I don't know that one.
Oh,
sometimes we sing together, but I don't know that song. I don't know what's happening right now.
Like you don't care. Okay, anyway.
Take it, Tracy.
But that, I think it's, you see people online, and I have friends like this where I know that things in their lives are a mess, but they put on this, everything's perfect. Mm-mm. Nobody's perfect.
You know, it's funny. I had someone, I still don't know this song. I had someone reach out to me who I mostly only interact with on social media. Yes, that is her Twitter handle. That's
no, my Twitter handle is Tracy Plays Big.
Why do I answer questions for her?
I don't know.
I shouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's not me. I'll tell you. Tracy
Plays
Big. So Blab, just to change the subject for 2 seconds. When Blab came out, I was Ready, Set, Grow. I've changed my Twitter handle. Unfortunately, I can't change my Blab handle. So I am at Tracy Plays Big. I don't know how to.
I don't even know what mine is. I can tell you my Twitter handle is. I just did this. It's RR Alexandria, but I forget what my Blab is. Your
I know my Wi-Fi is weird, but anyway. So what were we?
So what I was going to say, you weren't talking about anything. I was going to say something.
Oh, please.
Oh, why is everything?
Nope.
What's happening? I can't use your typewriter.
Oh, we're already following each other.
You type it. I'll talk. Okay. So this person, I just said typewriter too. That's wow. That made me feel really old. So this person that I know, and we used to be in a class together, so we knew each other pretty intimately because it was like a personal development class. But we haven't really hung out in years, and so we mostly only engage on social media, and mostly she just sees my stuff. I'm assuming I post a lot on Facebook. She messaged me because she wanted to ask me a question about something unrelated, and she says, "Oh, it seems like you're doing great." And I was like, "That's fascinating," because I was having a really hard couple of months. Like I didn't feel like I was doing great. And I was hoping that I hadn't just fake booked some stuff, you know? So, I mean, I wasn't trying to. I definitely was putting out things when there were things to celebrate or be excited about, partly to sort of boost myself and to get some more connection. But I was sharing some things that were challenging, but I have also found that if I overshare everything that's challenging, then, you know, it just changes. I don't know. It's like a bathtub. That's what it feels like to me. And, you know, when you have a bathtub and you're filling it and it's pretty close to full, or, you know, it's got a significant amount of water and you kind of want to move the water around, you can't just stir it as much as you want to stir it. You have to do a little because you'll start getting this delayed effect of sloshing. Mm-hmm. And so if I overdo talking about when things are challenging, I'll get this delayed slosh effect, and then I'll have to deal with that. And it starts getting messy and like going over the edges. Because then people are like, are you okay? And, you know, it's like, well, I'm human and I'm having a process and I am okay. But the people that I need mostly to be that I mostly need to be taking care of me or helping me are not, you know, Facebook connections. Like,
so I remember distinctly when my mom passed away in 2009, and people were looking, the people who were close to me were looking at my Facebook feed to see how I was doing. And so sometimes it was like I was saying, yeah, having a rough day or thinking about mom or whatever. But a lot of times what I ended up posting was motivational quotes or YouTube videos. And so I would get private messages and people would say, I'm trying to figure out how you're doing from looking at your Facebook feed. And I'm like, look, I'm not trying to be tricky or sneaky. When I'm posting something motivational, I'm posting it for me.
Yeah, trying to motivate.
Right,
or inspire.
Trying to motivate myself.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome.
Oh, that is awesome. So it's, you know, yeah, sometimes I'm processing through Facebook, and what processing looks like is
it's different for everybody.
Being a cheerleader for myself, I think is what it is. Like,
yeah,
I'm trying to pump myself up and
remind ourselves of things.
And I'm not doing it for them, which is a whole nother topic. We talked about that narcissism a couple weeks ago, but
you know, but that's interesting. Like, yeah, that's why, you know, somebody earlier said that authenticity is a moving target. And I think that's part of what you're talking about right now, right? Is, am I being inauthentic when I'm posting mostly smiling pictures of myself when I don't always feel like I'm smiley? Well, no, I'm not being inauthentic, but I'm doing it for me, or I'm doing it to help myself, or, you know, and that's not, I'm not doing it as a performance, I guess. That's the point. It's not inauthentic because I'm not doing it to prove to somebody else that I'm so happy, you know, or I'm so successful. I'm not doing it for that reason. I'm doing it to help me stay connected. Like, it's my own mirror, I guess. And we never know when someone's doing something, whether that's why they're doing it, right?
Right.
I mean, it's also like that whole law of attraction stuff kind of wanders in. Sometimes when people post or say things to me and they're like, I'm doing this, I did this. And it's like, are you doing one of those things where you say what you want to be true because you're trying to manifest it?
Well, and I love what Rhapsody Rose just said. People are at different levels of growth, so it threatens their beliefs when you're authentic and true.
Oh, please say more about that, because I don't get it.
Well, I think that if someone is not ready to be authentic,
how does it threaten their beliefs?
They can't believe what you do. Huh. We are already following each other. Okay. They haven't experienced it. And so they look at it, and maybe they look at it like that can't be real because I haven't experienced that.
Like no one would ever do that. That's not how people are. Is that what you mean? So they think that we're
interesting.
Lying. Huh.
Yeah. Well, and
interesting.
How, Yeah, there's a whole nother topic around, we could talk about that maybe next week, is about lying and truth, and when we lie to ourselves, and
well, yeah, because that's what this raised, right? Authenticity.
Because they're so used to being negative. I had a friend who was just like, she would call me, I would see her on the caller ID, and I would just cringe. Like, I did not want to answer the phone because she was just always so negative. And I remember one time we were talking and she was just moaning and groaning about this or that. And I looked at her and I said, on the phone, I said, I wonder how people who are chronically, or who are dying of cancer do it. And she was like, what do you mean? I go, those people who have terminal cancer and they're still happy, like, because this gal could not talk herself into being happy. This was her life.
Yeah.
Oh man, guilt and shame from parents and past relationships.
So they haven't got past the negative beliefs from family, and they think that we're not real for not being negative. Interesting.
That's really sad.
It is. Makes me sad.
Yeah, because
it makes me think of the Julia Roberts line in Pretty Woman, where he's telling her how wonderful she is, and she says the bad stuff is easier to believe.
Aw.
I know, and I feel for those people, and my heart wants to save all of them. And what I also know to be true is that I know there's a dog staring at her right now that's like wagging super enthusiastically. Okay, come on. What I also know to be true is that those people cannot be helped unless they decide they want to take that journey. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how much convincing or explaining or anything that I try to do. So usually those people aren't in my life unless they're a client or unless they're working on it. So
that's a good point.
You guys should see this dog. It's like it can't traverse a remote control to get over to her, and it's like freaking out. It's so tiny.
You get to meet this dog in a minute. Come here,
silly dog.
Come here, Doge.
Whatever people focus on grows. So I always look for the good in people and environment. Yeah, I do too. I do too. And sometimes I'll like, here's a piece of my authenticity. Sometimes, like recently, I was going through a period of melancholy, and I know how to be positive and how to do all that work, but I think I was a little depressed. And
little beanie Doge.
The thing that finally ended up getting me out of it was really diving into the grief. Like sometimes that's what I have to be authentic about, is really getting into the sadness and acknowledging it. And when people say, how are you doing? I went around for about a week or two saying, I'm okay. I mean, I'm getting there or whatever, but I'm not good.
Well, I think
I only said that to people that I feel trustworthy with.
I go back to when my mom died. So when my father-in-law died in July, my mom died in September, my grandmother died in October of the same year. And so people would ask me, how are you doing? And I would say, well, nobody's going to die today. And they would look at me like I wasn't really sure. And I'm like, no, I'm kind of serious, right? Like, no one's going to die today. So this is as okay as I'm going to be today.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm laughing a little because this dog is like going to town licking her hand. You can't see it.
What you don't know, Rose and Chris, is that these are not my dogs. I'm Doge sitting, and this one is probably 3 pounds. Anyway,
grief and depression bring you down, and low arousal and fear and anxiety happen because of the adrenaline rush in the amygdala.
What do you do?
Yeah, Rosie.
Rose, what is your background? Are you a
therapist also, or a psychologist? Or
I was looking at your life coach, mental toughness coach, spiritual teacher, and a poet.
Hey, I'm a poet too. An ounce of courage can crush a ton of fear. True.
Yes.
Degree in human services. Nice.
No wonder.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much all that it is when you have degrees, right? Like, you study a lot. Well, it's been lovely talking with you two. What we usually do from this point is Tracey and I hop over and we actually do a podcast based off of what we've blabbed about, because we sort of work out all our when I say our, I mean her ADD tendencies. And,
Yes.
and I get more clarity, and then we go and do a shorter podcast that we will eventually have on iTunes. We're waiting for an editor to to do that for us.
Yes. So thank you so much for joining us.
I'm so glad you were here. It's been lovely talking with you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Have a nice day.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.